live. I was having some technical difficulties before, so I actually made a lot of my material is on a video, which I will be uploading. And this is a continuation of 1978. I discussed things in the news. I discussed Jim Jones, Louise Brown, the first test tube baby, and what else did I discuss? Oh, well, you'll see it in the videos. And I'm now just discussing I discussed movies. There was Superman, Foul Play, Grease, Every Which Way But Loose. What else? I didn't discuss Animal House. Animal House was with John Belushi, and he just stole that whole movie. Basically about college frat boys and all the hijinks. And I mean, that you haven't seen it, you got to see it, because it's matter of fact, it's funny. Everyone told me about it, all my friends, and I didn't see it until I was pregnant with my daughter, which was 1998. So yeah, that was one of the top grossing films, John Belushi. And also in 1979, regarding John Belushi, he and Dan Aykroyd, who were regulars on the Saturday Night Live, they started the Blues Brothers, who were ultra popular, did a lot of renditions of Soul Man, and they released an album called Briefcase Full of Blues, which went to #1 in 1979. And another song they did that was really, really wild is Rubber Biscuit. He goes, "What do you want for free? A rubber biscuit?" So anyway, pardon me. I'm always playing with my hair because it always looks gross. It hasn't been cut in a while, so, and I don't do my own hair. I've tried and it was a failure. So anyway, and other music, Steely Dan is another one of my favorite 70s bands, along with Foghat and the first two albums of Boston. Their album Asia was really big, released in 1977 and hit it big 1978. Two of my favorite songs from that album are Deacon Blues, and which is an epic tune, and Josie. I love Josie. Just the horns in it and the hook, and the hooks near the end I really love. So that was another popular band in the 70s, was Steely Dan. And another big pop star, which had his really huge year, was 1978, was Andy Gibb. He first came out with I Just Want to Be Your Everything in 1977. It was a huge #1 hit. Then in 78, he released Love is Thicker Than Water, which was a #1, and another #1, Shadow Dancing. And another songs were An Everlasting Love and Our Love Don't Throw It All Away. They were really good songs. I mean, he was a teeny bopper, all the girls, Andy Gibb, oh my God, Sean Cassidy too. And yes, I had albums by Sean Cassidy and Andy Gibb, and Andy Gibb was a better artist. And see, you can see my 70s child shirt. And see, I've had this, it's a small, but it's long. So it covers everything. I used to be super thin and I'd wear my bell bottoms, and I still do, even though I'm 52 years old. But you know what? This is my style and I like it, and that's that. So anyway, Andy Gibb was a huge star then, and it was a shame that he died 5 days before his 31st birthday. No, 30. No, he just celebrated his 30th birthday, and he died 5 days after that from cocaine. It said that he was only weighing 110 pounds or less, and it was really sad. But and another one, Foreigner, another good band that had released their debut album in 77 that I covered, was Foreigner. Came out with Double Vision, which was just as good as album as their debut, probably better. And the title track hit #2, Double Vision. And like Double Vision and Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street, I think especially Baker Street should have been #1, but it kept getting knocked out by the Grease songs, and Bee Gees were the big hits of the day, and were the big groups of the day. And I think that's why they were wrestled out of the #1 spot. So, and Steve Martin also did, speaking of Saturday Night Live, Steve Martin was a regular on Saturday Night Live. He did a song called King Tut. And I remember the last few verses is, "Now, if I die, now don't think I'm a mutt." a nut. Don't want no fancy funeral, just one like old King Tut. Says he could have won a Grammy, buried in his jammies. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia, got a home in Arizona, got a condo made of stone, big King Tut. I'm hot. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It's hot in this room. I've got the AC running, but God, it's getting hot. I'm always, every time I'm talking live, you have to pardon me. Oh my goodness, it's hot. And anyway, it might be hot flashes too, but I think it's just warm in this room. But anyway, other songs of 1978. One of my absolute favorites, and it's epic, was by the Sweet, and it was "Love Is Like Oxygen." This song, one I think, in my opinion, I think the best song of 1978 was that song. And unfortunately, radio has to cut the classical part out of the middle because it's long. It's a long song, maybe 6-7 minutes long, and it starts off with a guitar playing riffs and the piano, and they sing the lyrics, and then in the middle of the song, it breaks down into like this electric piano, and then like an acoustic guitar, and it just ascends, and then it really kicks in, and then at the end, it goes in kind of a funk, kind of like a funk version of it. It's changes of tempo and types. Just a phenomenal song. If you haven't heard it, hear it now. Look it up on YouTube. It's phenomenal. You'll love it. That's my favorite song of 1978. And of course, 1978 was a big year for Queen, who came out with a double hit, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, which We Will Rock You is like a staple now at games, like the boom, boom, psh, boom, boom. And of course, it's overplayed now, but it's still a good song. A lot of these songs from then, sometimes they're overplayed. I can listen to them over and over again. And I remember my brother coming in and singing it, we will rock you. And also near the end of the year, they came out with Bicycle Race, Fat Bottom Girls. Bicycle Race is hilarious. The words, he says, I don't believe in Peter Pan, Frankenstein, or Superman. I just want to ride my bicycle. Bicycle, I want to ride my bicycle. Let me shut this door. And then there was Fat Bottom Girls, which is pretty it's Fat Bottom Girls make the rockin' world go round. Oh my God. I like that double-sided song better than the We Are the Champions, because We Are the Champions, and that it's very strong but very overplayed. You very rarely hear, especially Bicycle Race, you very rarely hear that. So yeah, it's a comical song. And Rod Stewart also released Do You Think I'm Sexy, which is another song I never tire of hearing. I remember when I first heard it on the radio, it was in December, and I'm like, man, this is good. It's got the sexy rhythm and just the way he sings the whole thing, because disco was, of course, in full swing. I mean, the peak in 1978. I mean, Studio 54. It's a compilation of A Night of Studio 54 was even released, where it had a lot of the good songs, and one of them was really silly. It was by an artist called D.C. LaRue, and it was called Hot Jungle Drums and Voodoo Rhythm. Hot jungle drums and voodoo rhythm. Absolutely silly. And other disco songs, which were a little harder hitting, was Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey, which was really a group, but it centered on the two women. And women playing guitar and bass was very unheard of. And I remember when we saw them on the Grammys, and they won a Grammy for their album, their debut album, A Taste of Honey. And we were shocked. They'd come out, and Hazel Payne is on the bass. Oh, no, she's on the guitar, and Janice Johnson's on the bass. And we were just like in awe. I mean, we were surprised. That was unheard of. And all in all, that's a good debut album as well. All the other songs are phenomenal, as well as Boogie Oogie Oogie. Another good one is a ballad called Sky High. I first heard it on a station called Studio 107 back in Fort Lauderdale. That was really a big hit then, a big radio station. Then it was all disco. And my dad and mom were into, my dad got into disco. And it's funny, I used to watch my mom and dad practice in the living room disco. They went to, I think it was a place called Pete and Lenny's, which was popular back then. And I used to laugh. I'm like, oh my God. And my dad even got the fro near the end of 1978. I'm like, Is he nuts? Froze. Yes, they were the thing back then too. Not only among blacks, but whites as well. Oh my God. Talk about, it was tacky on whites. I'm sorry, but it was. And another really great disco hit that was sampled several times is another song I never get tired of hearing is Cheryl Lynn's Got to Be Real. It's got to be real, got to be real. And that doom, 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 doom. Just an absolute floor burner. And that was number 12 on the charts and was number one R&B. And another song, that's another song I can listen to over and over again. And Cheryl Lynn, actually the year before, in 1977, when I forgot to discuss The Gong Show, which debuted in 76, and that was a big hit. Loved The Gong Show. She was a winner. I think she was, I never saw her. I didn't see her. I don't remember, but she was a winner on The Gong Show. And then her career, she had albums after that didn't really hit the mainstream like her debut did in that song, but phenomenal singer. You've got to hear off her debut album a song called Star Love. She's like almost like Yoko Ono and Mariah Carey-ish, but I mean, it's amazing, her pitch. I mean, you'll be in shock. I mean, you'll be like this, literally. And anyway, phenomenal singer as well. And another great song of 1978, and the band that came out was Toto. And their song Hold the Line was a huge hit as well. Love that song. And actually in the Grammys, it was that album up against Taste of Honey's debut, and A Taste of Honey won. And Toto also, the other had a good song off that debut called I'll Supply the Love, which was played on MTV when MTV actually played music videos. Now ever since I think they stopped being music television pretty quickly. I mean, in the beginning, they started in 1981. And I remember we used to watch it, and God, there was all music videos. And then I think in the 90s, it just stopped being that. It was all these stupid reality shows. What was it? Life, something Life or whatever. Real Life. And then, of course, there's Jersey Shore and all this other crap. I mean, it's embarrassing. But anyway, those were huge hits. And another one-hit wonders were It's a Heartache. Well, no, not Bonnie Tyler wasn't a one-hit wonder. She came out with that awful song, Total Eclipse of the Heart in 1983. But the one song, It's a Heartache, and a lot of people said she sounded like the female Rod Stewart because her raspy vocals. But what happened is 2 years prior to that, she had nodes on her vocal cords and she had to have surgery, and it left her with that raspy voice, and it did her really well because that song, I mean, her raspy voice are what makes that song. It is just one of the best. And Hot Child in the City, also, Nick Gilder was a crossover in the US with that song. And of course, when I was young, I was 10 years old, I had no idea what they meant by a hot child in the city. They were talking about a young child running wild, dangerous, dressed in black, a hungry child. And all I kept thinking of this girl that's homeless with black rags and begging for food. And I had no idea, of course, it was about young prostitutes in LA, in California, there in the Sunset Strip. And I had no idea. And in the single version, they cut out the last 4 bars of the guitar. And at the end, when he goes, hot child, and like the last 4, they go, hot child in the city, and goes, oh, doom, 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 like 4 more bars, and then the end. But for radio play, they cut it right off at the end. But that and One Hit Wonder, Kiss You All Over by Exile, which was written by none other than a bubblegum team called Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin, which is kind of weird because they were saying in defense of how people were saying it's risque while they say, I want to kiss you all over and over again. They're like, really? To kiss someone over and over again, it would take, what did he say? Like months or weeks or something of the sort. So yeah, that was their defense. And that was another huge #1 hit. And let's see what else. Disco was really big. And another disco song, hot disco song, #1, mentions Come On Down to 54 was Les Freak by Chic. I mean, everyone, 1, 2, oh, freak out. And I read somewhere where the freak was a dance where the partners would kind of like they'd slam their pelvises together and beat to the music. And there was stories about how there were some jealous men that were driven to murder while they watched their dates freaking with other men. And so that was a big, have you heard about the new dance craze? And that's pretty much it. Pretty much what it was simulating sex on the dance floor. But then again, it's even worse now. I mean, you see twerking and you've seen it. I mean, that I think was tame compared to today's standards. Anyway, and Donna Summer had her first #1 hit with MacArthur Park. And I love the way she did it. But it was a remake of a really bad number. It would hit #2. Why? I don't know. In 1968 by Richard Harris. It was even listed in one of Tom Reynolds' books, I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. It was books of all the depressing songs, and that was one of them, the 1968 version. And it's very depressing. I think the best part in the song is near the end where, hi, Lady Peeps, I'm glad I figured you'd like it. And anyway, I'm glad you can come on. Anyway, near the end of the song where Tom Reynolds says it's the equivalent to a Steve McQueen car chase. So anyway, Donna Summer really did that justice. And actually on her album Live and More, she does MacArthur Park Suite, where it's like tapered off. It's in different sections. And that one's really, the MacArthur Park Suite is really, really good. And I discussed Sweet, Love It Like Option. Oh, and you're just in time, Lady Peeps. I'm here to discuss some UK music. And I know you remember, I actually had to listen to it twice today. And actually, I was tearing up listening to it because she sounds so, her voice and her dancing, Kate Bush, Wuthering Heights. And I read on YouTube that they had to change this video in the US to a different video because this one is too, what did they say? Not creepy, but too, God, what was the name of it? But anyway, she's dancing and she's in the white dress. And her voice, if you can get over her high-pitched, really high-pitched voice, it's her voice grows on you. And she's dancing and she says, Heathcliff, it's me, I'm Kathy, I'm come home now, so cold. Heathcliff, it's me, I'm Kathy. It's just phenomenal. And I love there's a part where they make it like it's double and she does this cartwheel and it comes up like this in sync with each other. And I remember too reading in a magazine I used to read down here called Cream. He was discussing how beautiful Kate Bush was and how he makes Madonna look like a turkey's bollocks on Thanksgiving. And he says, oh my God, she's young, she's beautiful, and she dances like an angel with her wings spread. And oh my God, he goes, every time I turn to jello, every time I hear that sweet thing sing, it just makes me want to drool. She was just beautiful. And the song too called Them Heavy People, that's the reggae sounding song. I saw her, I've got old Saturday Night Live videos from 1978 where she was a guest singer and she's going, rolling the ball, rolling the ball, rolling the ball to me. Just an adorable lady. And another good song from the UK was Nick Lowe's Breaking Glass. That's all it was about. He says he loves the sound of breaking glass, especially when he's alone. I love that song. And it's funny, the song, the album was called Jesus of Cool in the UK, and here it was called Pure Pop for Now People. And I discussed the Police debut and Foghat. Lady Peeps, did you like Foghat? Because that was one of my favorite bands in the day. I mean, Lonesome Dave's vocals, and he had a lot of emotion in his vocals. And that song, that album Stone Blue, is one of my favorites. I mean, need to be played loud in a souped up car. You know, the guys had the feathered hair, and you can't, none of that today. It's all crap rap and mumble rap, and it's just junk. Everything's junk today. Oh, and another song I heard, UK one hit wonder over. Yeah, no, it never crossed over here. It was over there as #1. Althea and Donna called Uptown Top Ranking. Simmer immer out the back. And Emma get the heart attack. And a lot of that patois I don't really understand. And what did she say? Simmer in my dirt and ting. Simmer in my pants and ting. And yeah, something, what else did they say? Althea, they're like schoolgirls, like 19, 18 or 19, or maybe 16. Yeah, Uptown Top Ranking. And oh, and there was a movie called The Ruttles, All You Need Is Cash. Of course, I never saw it, but of course it's a spinoff of the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper. And I think the Sex Pistols broke up, and they had Johnny Rotten formed Public Image Limited, and Blondie was big over there. And Blondie, of course, didn't cross over until 1978, until this year, with Parallel Lines and their song Heart of Glass. Oh my God. And I'm going to discuss that in 1979, what that and my other favorite songs were. But what else in the UK? There was been, like I said, I don't know. I never really heard a lot of these songs, but there's a band called the Buzzcocks that had a song called Oh Shit. And then there was a song by the Boomtown Rats called I Don't Like Mondays that caused a girl named Brenda Spencer in California came with a gun at school. This was in early 1979. She shot up a bunch of kids, and when asked why, she said, I don't like Mondays. And actually, I think she was either inspired by that song or the Boomtown Rats were inspired by that. I can't remember. But, oh, and Ian Dury, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. I heard that once and I really liked it, but I don't remember much of it. I got to hear that again. But that Kate Bush song, I swear, it got me tearing up because, too, I thought of my daughter and was crying because, this is silly, because my daughter and her are both born in July. My daughter's July 26th and Kate Bush July 28th, and they're both beautiful. They're both beautiful Leos and just real sweet, like a kitty cat, but they're lions. But oh my God, I was taking a shower and I was just in tears thinking of my daughter, and I'm starting to get a little teary-eyed myself here, so I gotta calm down. And I discussed, let's see, a lot of the music now. The TV shows. Oh my God. Three's Company, Love Boat. There was 8 is Enough, which I watched religiously, where 8 kids, was it Tom and Abby Bradford, and Abby was their stepmother because the original mom of the show was Diana Hyland, who was John Travolta's girlfriend at the time, who died of cancer. And so they had to, and this was after the first year, like 1977 when it first aired. But oh my God, I used to watch that show religiously all that year, all of 1979. And then I just got, and then it stopped after a while. But, and Three's Company was about, which was, it was unheard of. It was kind of risque with a guy rooming in with 2 girls. And of course, there was the porn star, his buddy. I can't remember John Ritter's buddy's name, but they went to the Regal Beagle, and his buddy's was like a real swinger guy, the tacky porn star. He didn't have the mustache though, but, and I liked better than the landlord. I didn't like Norman Fell. I didn't like, what was it? Roper. I liked Furley. Don Knotts cracked me up. He was the best one. And Jack had to make it like he was a homosexual so he can live with them. And so every time Furley would come in, he'd be like, and again, no offense, just calling it like it was. And that's what it was. So don't quote me, because that's me just repeating what it was about. And of course there was the Love Boat, which I never watched, but the one character that was hilarious was, what's his name? Isaac with that mustache. And, and of course a Love Boat was another one, tacky kind of 1970s swinger type of show. And I got bits and pieces of it. My parents used to watch it. I never liked it, but Three's Company I kind of like, but 8 is Enough was my show. And then of course there was Chips, and every girl was in love with Poncherello. Oh, I couldn't stand that machismo. I can't stand him. And Larry Wilcox was tacky with like that hair and just tacky looking, and along with Greg Evigan of BJ and the Bear, which also debuted. He was a truck driver who I couldn't stand his attitude. And I am not a feminist at all, but he had that really swaggering sexist attitude. He was just an asshole. I look back and I'm like, yeah, I liked the show. I had a crush on him. Why? He was such a prick. That's the name. He was a prick. And he had that monkey with him because, God, who else would want to be his friend? Oh, my God. And the bimbos he would pick up in there with, you know, the high shorts and the heels and just being bimbo-ish. And so, yeah, that was a popular show, too, BJ and the Bear. And, of course, Chips. And what other show was there? Oh, Dukes of Hazzard debuted in 1978, but I'm going to cover that next year because that's when they were the biggest hit, was in 1979. And also, trying to think of what else. Oh, of course, we'll end with the Fads. The Fads were, they came out with Kiss comics. The band Kiss was in their height of popularity, and Kiss released their solo albums, and the best one was by Ace Frehley, the guitar player. He had this song that came out called New York Groove, which actually I found out that it was a remake of a 1975 song by a British band called Hello. Lady Peeps, I don't know if you know that one. It was 1975, a band called Hello, and they did that. And fantastic song. And his album, I think, was the only one. Him and I think Gene Simmons hit the charts. And Gene Simmons was okay, but Ace Frehley, I loved. I used to play the crap out of that when I was 11, and I had a crush on Ace Frehley big time. I was 11 years old, and my girls hit puberty earlier than boys do, so I was really going through it big time. And anyway, so the Kiss comics, supposedly the ink was mixed in with some of their blood. I don't know. I think that's just rumor, I hope. But yeah, Kiss comics and then the Kiss dolls. Oh my God, you could pose them and oh my God. And what else? There was oh God, and they also had underoos for kids. Wearing underoos is fun because you can choose from more than one. There's Veronica and Josie too. Wonder Woman, Superman, which one are you? I mean, if that doesn't scream pedophilia, I don't know what does. We used to make fun of him. My brother never wore them, thank God. But my husband did. I laugh at him. He says, "Did you ever wear you sure you never wear underwear?" I'm like, "No." And of course, this was Superman. And well, so those are the top fads. Underoos. Yeah, of course the. Oh, and Tab Cola. I can't remember when it actually debuted, but Tab was big in 1978. And as a matter of fact, I was introduced to diet drinks by my dad because he was dieting and he always drank Tab. So, of course, all that poison I love and the Tab and the bottles. And I'm like, oh, man, I love this. Oh, another thing, in 1978, when I was in 5th grade, we had a field trip to the Coca-Cola bottling company. Man, was that cool. And you can actually smell the Sprite. You're going through the factory and I could smell. And I remember what I wore that day. I wore this really nice pink stretch shirt and I had these pants, these little flare pants, and they were checkered. They were pink and green checkered. And I just loved them. And I wore those. And I'm like, man, that was the coolest outfit I think I had. And what else did we used to do? Oh, and I was so excited. I got this stereo too for Christmas. It had of course, it had 8-track. When 8-tracks, any millennials out there will not know what an 8-track is and a vinyl record. You look it up, and these millennials be looking like, what the hell? But 8-tracks, and it was neat because you can record like songs off of the stereo, and oh my God, those stereos were just the hit back in the day. And the phones back then too were the round phones, where they had the buttons in them, and you take it off, and it's like kind of like a banana shape. Those were in, and still flare jeans and clogs were in, and the Farrah hairdo, which I managed a little bit today. I didn't put extra. I didn't straighten it, so it's not flat. It's fluffy. So anyway, those were the fads of the day. And I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and Hot Wheels, of course, the Hot Wheels track where they did the loop de loop. Those were hot back then. And so many others. I don't know. I covered just about all of it. And Parliament and Funkadelic. Funkadelic had a song called One Nation Under a Groove, and Parliament had a song called Flashlight, a really good funk song that came out in the early 78. So George Clinton, like I said, in 1970 video, he spearheaded. It's like the same, it's like under his direction, his production. One was Parliament, one was Funkadelic. Parliament was a little more, I think, kind of disco oriented than Funkadelic was. Funkadelic I like better because they're a little bit more rock and roll, kind of rock funk. And One Nation Under a Groove and Flashlight were good, but One Nation Under the Groove I think was had a little bit more hard hitting funk to it. And another album that isn't well known by Casey and the Sunshine Band, but I actually like, was a album called Who Do You Love? And the title track they played on Y100 back in the day in 96X in Florida. And I used to love that song, plus a song called Do You Feel All Right? And they got a really nice island style song on the album called Come to My Island, and another one called Show Enough. That song is one of my favorites on that album. And they remade It's the Same Old Song in 1978 too. It only went to number 35 on the charts, but I liked it. I liked their remake. So, I mean, 1978 was just a really huge year for music. I mean, each year gets better and better in movies and music. Because like I said, oh, thanks, Lady Peeps. I saw your compliment. Looking good. Thank you so much. Bye. Be right back. Mothership needs help. I love that. Yeah, vinyl. And vinyl's coming back, Lady Peeps. You know that? You know, it's weird how all these technology, they want you to buy more and more and more for the money-making machine. Then they go all the way back to basics. So anyway, well, it's a good thing, I guess, to get the kids to know. But yeah, it seems each year it gets that way because I experience it more. I was like a preteen, and you know, I was in elementary school, and I was experiencing a lot more. So if I left out anything, I'm probably going to cover it a little bit in my 1979 video next week, and that's going to be my end of the 1970s. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go by the years in 1980, but I will have, Lady Peeps, you requested me to do a show on the 80s, and I will do one. And I'm also going to do a video. I'm going to have to do a live one. I couldn't go live earlier because I was having technical difficulties. So I do have 2 videos I'm posting up. Of course, they're split up because they ran out of time on my phone. So that'll have a part 1, a part 2, and then this stream. So if I missed anything, I'll cover it in the beginning of my 1979 video. And I'm going to have another vid of folklore, 70s folklore in Florida that Lee suggested I do. And oh my God, I've got one. You'll laugh your ass off. So I got a shout out to him for that. So anyway, everybody have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday at 1 p.m. my time, Eastern, and we will get into 1979. Goodbye.